Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty. Right before you is someone who I hadn't heard about in quite a while, Alfonso Ribeiro. Remember him from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? His most well-known role is Carlton Banks. Well, he's stating that his interracial marriage, he cites his interracial marriage for blacks not being accepted by the black community. And it goes right here. Alfonso Ribeiro claims the black community turned on him for choosing white wife. Now, if you have not heard about this, I want you to take a listen to this clip out of his own lips and hear what he is saying.
I'm never going to be white, and I'm never going to be fully supported in the black house.
When Carlton was attempting to pledge, and then there was a whole scene of where, he was basically being told that he wasn't black enough to pledge, and Carlton kind of gave this emotional speech.
Being black isn't what I'm trying to be, it's what I am.
Have you experienced any of that feeling personally throughout your life?
It still happens almost every day, unfortunately. I am in a mixed relationship, and I get things and looks and comments constantly, right? And, I find it very interesting because you see a lot of things on social media where people say things and people have positions and perspectives. And it's not easy to make that choice because you're not at home in any home. I'm never going to be white, and I'm never going to be fully supported in the black house. So I'm in my own little world with support from almost no one to be in love with someone I've fallen in love with. How does that make sense? It doesn't. We all want to live in a world where everyone is accepted for being and loving and living the way they choose to live. I will support any person that wants to live in a world that they want to live in. I'll support a racist person to live in a world that they want to live in. They don't have to be around me, but if that's the world that they want to live in, they should have a right to live in that world. I live in a mixed world. I love in a mixed world. I live in a black world, and I love in that world, right? I feel everyone should be supported. I deal with it all the time. I laugh at the fact that I am a television, mainstream television host, been in the game forever, and I can purchase tickets to go to the BET Awards. So it is what it is. I'm not going to purchase the ticket, but I'm also not going to, I guess I'm doing it now by putting them on Front Street. But at the end of the day, if that's the view they take, then that's the view they take. I can't change their mind. All I can do is live my life and be me and be the best version of me and continue to love everybody, equally. And let it fall where it falls.
Well, okay. So you heard the interview in which Alfonso Ribeiro, how he broke that down. And let me just go to here, because I'm going to go back to the interview. Someone wrote down here, I ain't never in my entire black A life had a conversation about Alfonso Ribeiro's marriage. And I think that's the most of us. It really is. But let me go back to that interview because there were some very troubling things that I found in it. He said the black house. Okay, I'm thinking that, what did he mean by that? Black people's houses or the black house? Strange term to use. Then he goes and he gets this almost every day. You get it almost every day? I don't think so. I just think that's an over-exaggeration. But I think that when he means every single day, I don't think he means every day. I just think that he means a lot. It can be a euphemism for a lot or too much or quite often. Okay. And then he goes on to say that he's supportive of anyone. That he's supportive of anyone as to how they want to live their life. Okay. Then be supportive of people who may not want to accept your marriage. Maybe. Okay, and then you support racist. I find that very troubling because I don't. I would never support any type of group of people. Granted, there are different degrees of it, and I'm talking about the extreme degree where they would like to see black people dead, where they could be plotting my downfall, where they could be plotting my extermination. So no, I do not support that. So I just think that I don't know, bringing up this topic and this subject at 49 years old, I think there's some complex layers with this right here. I really do. And I want to get into those layers in which he chose to bring up. So first of all, here's the thing. I want you to have a look at this before I get into the next part of my commentary. And it's extremely important, so pay attention. And you tell me what is the common denominator that you see. Okay, you've seen that. And you should have seen the common denominator. And the common denominator is that he was with all white women. Now, I'll say this much. There's nothing wrong if you choose to be with a white spouse. Nothing wrong with that. Go ahead, have a great life. There is something wrong when you are a black person who prefers white people. He seems to be a black man who obviously prefers white women. There is a difference between being with a white person or someone of a different race because we're compatible, we laugh together, we have a great friendship, great conversations, we have great sex. I mean, we fight even good, we make up very well. That's a whole different meaning to the whole, love is love. I truly believe that. But when you have a preference, which he obviously does, no one's going to convince me otherwise. You have a preference for white women, but yet you're coming over to the black community asking for support. Why would any level-headed, conscious-minded black person who loves themselves support a black man who does not prefer a female that does not look like his mother? Why would we support someone who prefers other people of another race? That's what he's not getting with that. And I think that when I look at, from Carlton Banks, Alfonso Ribeiro, you didn't even have to tell me that he was with a white female. I just got that vibe. I just think with some people, you get a vibe about them. And he gives off that strong Tiger Woods-like vibe. Granted, he may have dated a black female in the past. That was in the past, but so did Tiger Woods. But what did he prefer years later? It's obvious. This is what he preferred years later. And many people with this whole mentality, somehow they're interracial and they want you to look up to them, admire them, give them accolades for being with someone white or of a different race. A lot of times that's what that is about. Many times this so-called "you're not supporting me" is the fact that you're not supporting my union. Well, why should we just because the person's white? Are we supposed to do that? Now, he may not be asking that, but the point which I'm trying to make here is that no, me personally, I'm not going to support any black person who prefers someone of another race. And he said that he loves all people equally. Okay, that's him, not me. I don't hate white people, Hispanic people, Asian people, Indian people. I don't hate anyone. I wish all people well. However, I'm pro-black. I'm for the needs, the benefits, the lives, the advancement of black people. I put black people first. I don't denigrate or talk about other races of people. But I do put the lives of black people first. So no, I wouldn't get up there and say that I look at everyone as being equal or love everyone equally. I think that he seems to be such an interracialist that he doesn't really understand that. But when you prefer white women or someone other than your own race, you're not going to understand that. And another thing that's problematic about people like this here, who want the love and support and admiration of black people, they start reproducing interracial children or mixed children. And all along, usually with black men, not the vast majority of black men, but many of those, a lot of those who are into interracial unions, they love the idea of reproducing biracial children. They want the light skin, the so-called good hair. They refer to these kids as being pretty. They look at these kids as being more pretty or desirable than if Hattie would have married someone like Ania Long and reproduced with her. Believe me, he did not want a black baby. He wanted what he got right here, biracial children. So you're going to come to a black community asking them to support you when you don't fully support black people. You made your bed, now lie in it. I mean, go to biracial people for support. Obviously, he's not going to go to white people for support. But there's a lot of biracial people. There's a growing community right there. You can ask them for support. But I just think that it's a lot of gall and a lot of nerve to come to the black community. And this only refers to these type of black people who prefer other groups of people above black people. And obviously he does. We've seen the list of women who he dated. You had pictures of there. There was not one black female. The only black female that was there was his co-star Karen Parsons on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He prefers white women. So when you prefer white women, you're not going to get the support of black people. You do not deserve the support of black people because you do not fully support black people. And these children right here, when they grow up, 95% chance they will marry white. So basically, fighting racism like a lot of them claim that they think they're doing, that wealth is going to go out into the dominant society. So here's the thing though, 49 years old and you don't have this shit figured out. Boy, you really are stuck in that, what is that, Carlton Bank stage. You're stuck in that mindset. You really are. Now, I checked on his Instagram. When I checked on his Instagram, it was very telling. You can go there too. Alfonso Ribeiro, is it the real Alfonso Ribeiro? There was nothing about Black Lives Matter, nothing about racism, nothing about police brutality, nothing about advancing the lives of black people, no black fists thrown up in the air, nothing, nothing, nothing. He's not pro-black. If you're showing me this right there, on your page right there, I mean, you have a voice. You have how many followers? Over 1 million followers on social media. You can make a difference in the lives of black people. You can help the lives of black people. You can bring awareness to what black people are going through. But you choose not to post anything, and you're going to cry about black people not supporting you? You don't deserve our support. So these are the type of women that he likes to date. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, really, if he wants to date them, shack up with them, interbreed with them, seriously, go ahead and do that. But don't come running and crying back to the black community asking for support when you prefer white women. That's disingenuous right there. I think that's outrageous to me. But then again, his mindset, because he's not pro-black, he doesn't get that. He thinks that it's just because she's white. No, people feel things. We can feel things about you, about Tiger Woods and things like that. We know what you prefer. This is him years ago. I believe this was his first wife. The 2 women he married were white. The vast majority of the women he dated, probably the majority he dated, were white. Now, as I was researching this, there was a claim, and some people may say this: he dated Neil Long. Get out of here with that nonsense. Here's a list of the men she dated. Now, she was on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air at one time. She did a lot of sitcoms back in the day where she was a guest starring role for a couple of episodes. But here's a list of the men she dated. I don't see his name on there. When I research farther men that Neil Long has dated, this is the guy at the top, Ume Educa. She has a couple of children by her current partner. But these are the men that Neil Long has dated right here. Mick Jagger surprised me. I thought I remembered hearing something about that. I think it was very short-lived, if true, though. But do you see Alfonso Ribeiro? Nowhere on here. For those who would get up there and say that he dated Neil Long. But so what if he did, though? That was way back in the day. And I hear that he may have dated another biracial girl, black biracial girl. But people, Tiger Woods' first girlfriend in college was black. That does not mean anything about the present, right now. After that black experience, if that did happen, he clearly and obviously preferred white women. And when you prefer white women, do not come to the black community begging or even asking for support. And if you really want that support, you've seen it for social media. Why don't you reach out more to black people? Why don't you extend a hand out to black people? Have you done that? Or you just think that you can show up there with a white wife and we're supposed to be all amazed? And we're supposed to give you glory and praise because your children are biracial. We're supposed to look at that as some type of an accomplishment that we want. No, we don't want that. So this is his delusional mindset right there, thinking that it's all because his wife is white. No, I think that it's all because of what you prefer. And I think that people can feel that. Here's 4 of them right there. There's no Neil Long there. There's no black girls there. So, I'm going to end up by saying this much. When you have a preference, when you are a black person with a preference that is not black, do not ask for support for the black community. Go to the white community. Go to people who are interracialists, who like this type of stuff right there. Go to them for support. But I think that is foolhardy and disingenuous, outrageous, outlandish. You prefer someone who does not look like your mother. You prefer a white female, but yet you're asking black females and black men who love black women, who love black people, to support you. No, that's a no-go. That's a no deal. So I just think that from the very beginning on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I don't think that his character, Carlton Banks, was too far off from what he really was. So I think that Alfonso Ribeiro is out of line with this assessment, with that interview about the black community not supporting him. I think it's the other way around, that Alfonso Ribeiro does not support the black community. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty, and I will see you beyond and through.